because it provides us a public leak, which means it's out to the public and the public knows what's supposed to be happening. And legally, defensible basis. So if somebody comes along and says, well, you know what, I don't like the fact that you guys decided to do A, B, and C, because I wanted you to do D, E, and F, we can point back to our plan and say, no, this is the reason why we did the things that we did. And when you end up in court, it makes a big difference. When you end up in court, as far as you being able to show that legal basis for why you did what you did. So more benefits. It provides valuable information which can be used in future funding applications, making them more competitive in conformance with the actual projected needs of the community. So as we continue to apply for grants here in the city of Harvey, then we can, oh, here we go, it's back again. You might go out again, though, y'all. We can use our comprehensive plan to apply for different funding. That's a little too feedback here. And then it also provides a framework to empower local officials, such as this good gentleman here, to make decisions based upon a coordinated plan to guide the orderly growth and development of our community. So there are so many benefits from a comprehensive plan. Here was the problem, and this is what we talked about in October of 2018. Here was the ultimate problem. The city of Harvey had not adopted a comprehensive plan since 1968. So think of it, think of it. 1968, the city was going through some demographic changes, okay? 1974, excuse me, it really started going through some demographic changes. And for those who don't know what I mean more black people moved into the city of Harvey. And so somewhere around 79, the businesses started to shut down. Does anybody remember that? Anybody who was here at that particular point in time? The businesses started to shut down. And when they started to shut down, we didn't know what we were going to do, except for lose jobs, lose economic stability, but we had absolutely no clue what we were going to do as a city. We didn't have a plan. Now, we weren't the only ones being impacted by the jobs going out. This microphone, I don't think this thing is working too well. Y'all give me a minute, because it's breaking my flow. It's working, all right. Now, during the time since 1968, James Haynes, he started in 1967, David Johnson, Nicholas Graves. I did not change the slide because this was in 2018. So in 2018, this person was still in office at the time. So I didn't put an end date to that because this is actually an older slide. But we went through four mayors that made us promises about what they were going to do in our community. We can't just blame it on one, because I know sometimes people like to do that too, okay? This was basically an effort over decades where we did not have the direction that we were supposed to go. When I said we, because that means not just me, that means you as well. And so you didn't know what we were supposed to be doing. They didn't develop a plan to what we were supposed to be doing. So nobody really did what was supposed to be done. So, at that time, in October 2018, I got before a group of people, I think it was 16423 Halsted, and I said, we must and will develop and submit a comprehensive plan to the City Council for approval. And that, my friends, is exactly what we have done. The City Council, along with this administration, has passed the 2024 Comprehensive Plan for the City of Harvey, Illinois. Now, what does that do for you? Well, first of all, if you want to see the entire plan, it is available online. You can go to cityofharveyil.gov. Once again, cityofharveyil.gov, which is the city's website, and you can find a copy of the plan. And you can read the plan in its entirety. And I would recommend it. Do so with your morning coffee or something like that. But the other thing that it does, besides the fact that it's available to you, the public, is it does something for you. It empowers you as a resident, because then it begins to give you the ability to hold your elected officials accountable. It doesn't matter whether I'm in office or someone else is in office. It doesn't matter whether Alderman Rogers is in office or someone else is in office. It gives you as the public the ability to hold your elected officials responsible. So we're gonna go back. We'll go back for a second. We weren't able to do that at this time. While we may have felt a certain way, while we may have thought a certain way, we did not have a guiding document that we could present to them saying, hey, wait a minute, you're supposed to do it this way. This is what everybody agreed on. We didn't have that. And so it was difficult to hold them accountable. But now we have it. What is the comprehensive plan? We kind of went over it, but the Harvey comprehensive plan is the guiding document that establishes the policies and directions to ensure positive momentum for this city. It's a resource for the community, and it's used to coordinate efforts by city officials and the staff, as well as so many others. And one of the things for sure, once again, this marks the first comprehensive plan that's developed by the city of Harvey since 1968. And I'm gonna keep hitting them. Because the simple fact is, first of all, I want some of y'all to understand, this here administration is cooking. Regardless of what somebody gonna say, he's cooking. Now, probably in one of our other community solution meetings, because we'll be doing this quarterly, but we'll also go over what I had in 2018, which was called the action plan. I don't know if anybody remembers that or not, but there was a 14-page document called the action plan, which detailed exactly what we were going to be doing, and it gave you the ability to hold the administration accountable for whether it was doing it or not. So we're gonna review that, and we'll see how much we've done with anything. So how do we do this? Community comprehensive plan. First thing, I didn't do the comprehensive plan. Okay, it was funded by RTA. Okay, granted by RTA, and a professional organization by the name of House of Levine took charge and helped us to develop the plan. I really couldn't honestly tell you, all of what needs to be done. I'm the guy I'm the coach who gets in there and tells everybody what to do. But I'm not sitting up just trying to figure out how to develop a plan. But you all had a chance to do so, because there's several things that we did. But it was developed in four phases. First, you had to get to know the community. So what we did was we brought in the experts, gave them an opportunity to get to know the people of Harvey. We created visions, key recommendations, and we planned development and implementation. So how did that community engagement go? Well, first, we had a steering committee kickoff meeting, and there were several residents who were members of the kickoff steering committee. So we had that initial meeting. Next, we had a community kickoff workshop, and during that particular workshop, did anybody participate in any of the workshops or any of the meetings that we had? Would you please just by a show of hands, anybody? Some of y'all are raising y'all hands, and y'all know y'all was there, so I don't know if that's about it. Yeah, I know y'all was there. We got pictures of some of y'all. Okay. Yes, yes. Where we had the long papers up against the wall. Yeah. So we had a city staff kickoff meeting because the staff needed to know what they were doing. And then of course they conducted stakeholder interviews. They had the more steering committee meetings, conditions reviews, the visioning workshop, another steering committee review. They had the online questionnaire, which some were encouraged to go online, and because some people were not able to make it to all of the meetings and understand. So there was also an online questionnaire, and also map.social, which is a mapping device that you could go online and you can see as well. So all of these things were available, and all of these things were actually put out to the community to try to get as much engagement as possible. So, as that was being done, there was research being done as well. So Harvey today, and what do we look like? And I don't know, because it's not going to tell me, I guess. No, you ain't got to tell me that. I live here too. But we have a population of 20,324. The median home value is $72,600. We boast a rich history of public transportation and industry, healthcare, and social assistance is the largest employment sector, accounting for 1/3 of all jobs here in the city. The median income, $32,572. 43% of the residents have received a college degree. The majority of Harvey's population is made up of Black residents, accounting for 64% of the population, with 28% classified as Hispanic or Latino. So that's where we are right now. Where are we trying to go? Well, this is a long-term, as I said earlier, comprehensive plan is a long-term plan. It's something that you're starting today, but you're trying to look into the future to guide yourself to where you want to be. So in 2045, we will be known, or at least we hope to be known, as one of the most welcoming and prosperous places in the Southland, the Chicago metropolitan region. It will be a place that's active, economically diverse, sustainable, and beautiful, and a place with a bright future and high quality of life for its residents. Speaking of beautiful, if you pay attention to what's going on 154th Street, see all this digging and all this dirt coming up and all the rest of that stuff, that's for our rain gardens. Okay, so there's going to be a variety of plants in those rain gardens. And we're going to be reaching out to some of you, not to necessarily maintain, even though some of you are welcome to do so. But when we first kick that off, we will need some assistance, okay? So, That's what we're looking for, of course, our vision statement. The downtown will once again function as the symbolic heart of the community, creating a vibrant, pedestrian-oriented mixed-use center. The community's historic and established neighborhoods will be attractive, well-maintained, and highly valued by family and people at all stages of life. Our industrial areas will thrive again, transforming the hub of sustainable and innovative warehousing and logistics, fostering economic prosperity for generations to come, and will maintain that history and tradition while continuing to be a community that embraces a positive direction and operates with integrity, pride, and unity for the benefits of all residents. That's where we're looking to go. But we can't do it by ourselves. You must be involved. This is not a spectator sport. You have to get involved in some shape, form, or fashion. So, our goals: growth and development, housing in the neighborhoods, commercial, and industrial areas, transportation and mobility, community facilities, parks and open spaces, and infrastructure. Those are all the things that we need to work on over this 20-year period of time. Land use, we have diverse land use. We have so many vacant parcels and so many underutilized parcels in the city, along with so many underutilized residential properties that we have to develop, and we're starting to develop a plan as far as how those residential properties are going to be used. But our land use plan, it consists of several things: single-family residence, mixed residence, commercial, public, semi-public, downtown, industrial, parks and open space, medical, institutions, transportation, and utilities. These are all of the things that make up basically the City of Harvey's land use plan. So, our recommendations for housing and commercial and industrial areas basically go under one of the 3 stages. Step 1, we need to stabilize. We've been working on stabilization since 2019. Many of you have heard me say over and over again how I took on anybody who gonna win the booby prize today to tell me how much that the city of Harvey had when I took office, except for you all. How much? 164 million. All right, you get it. That's right, $164 million. And so I talked about that over and over again. That's right, give her a hand. I've talked about the fact that we inherited $164 million worth of debt when we came in. And so it's not something that you get out easy. But that brings us into step 1, to stabilize. And we've done a lot of work to try to stabilize our community, to get us to at least ground zero, so that we can try to be functional. And that's what we've been working on. But while we're stabilizing, and some things have gotten a little bit more stable than they were before, we need to invest. We need to invest, and we need investors, okay? So that's our step 2. And then once we finally get step 1 and step 2 out of the way, of course, step 3 is to maintain. And that's going to require the community to definitely contribute on maintaining what we have worked to establish. So, our recommendations for residential areas is to maintain vibrant and stable residential neighborhoods, to infill development, which should be encouraged. What's the infill development? For those of you who you have a house on this side, you got a vacant lot, and then you got a house on that side. There's a vacant lot in the middle where there used to be something there, maybe, to find a use for that. Either to infill that with another property or create what we call a satellite program, one or the other. But we need to maintain vibrant and stable residential neighborhoods. Harvey's vacant residential lots present an opportunity for temporary uses that can bring life and activity to neighborhoods while fostering a sense of community. Potential uses include small pocket parks, community gardens that provide opportunities for community interaction and inclusion. And you know what, and I'm gonna bring this up, and this isn't necessarily, I'm gonna say our finest moment yet. But we still have a lot of work to do, and we still have to gather a lot of funding to get those community hubs up and running the way they should be. Okay, and believe me, I know that and I recognize that. We need more money. When you have more money, you can go much faster. When you don't have money, you gotta go much slower. So in this particular case, we were able to get the buildings built, we were able to get the buildings paid for thanks to our state representative, Will Davis. So we were able to do that, but we have so much more that needs to be done to get those community hubs up and running the way that they need to be. But don't let that get you sidetracked to think ain't nothing happening in the city, okay? Because a lot of stuff is happening. While single-family homes will continue to be the predominant residential development type, public input during the outreach process indicated support for additional housing to gradually add population to the community, which is another thing that has to happen. We have to increase our numbers by becoming a more attractive community. We're of course going to have to provide more housing, but also we need to up our numbers just from a census perspective. We're continually showing that decline. And what we want to do is, while everybody else is going this way, we want to be able to show that we're going up. We want people to start to turn around and say, oh, wait a minute, what's going on in Harvey? We see everybody else going down. People are moving out of the county to other counties. People are moving out of the state of Illinois to other states. So why is Harvey improving? Why is Harvey increasing? And we want to be able to show that we're doing that. Planning for the needs of an aging population requires a multifaceted approach to ensure the well-being of aging residents. This is extremely important, okay? This is where I go off script, but like I say, you know, a lot of people I hear sometimes talk about how I feel, act, or respond to the senior community. And I have tried to make it clear on several occasions why I had to respond to the senior community the way that I do. But I'm gonna say it again, these are the same people. See, when I was a little kid, they were in their 20s and 30s. Okay, they would keep me out of trouble. They were telling me the right things to do. They were encouraging me. Okay, some of them were a little militant, but they were telling me what a black man was supposed to look like and what he was supposed to be doing. And they also encouraged me and told me that I had a responsibility to take care of my community. And my mother always did that as well. So when I got older, and if I get there, and it just so happens that I was just raised by a bunch of older people. You know, that was just basically how it was. So I was always comfortable in that environment. I was always comfortable around older people. I still feel comfortable around older people, okay? It just is what it is. And so, but I also understand that how you treat somebody else is what you're setting up for yourself in the future. How you treat someone else is how you're setting it up for yourself in the future. So if you turn around and you say that we have an aging population that we can just throw away and disregard, well, what you think gonna happen when you get older? You know, most of the people that I know that were older than me used to keep telling me one thing and one thing only. You keep living. Meaning that eventually you were going to see something that was going to give you a little knowledge and a little wisdom. Okay? And so when it comes to the aging population, yeah, it would be much, I'll be honest with you, it would probably be much easier for almost everybody who said, oh, you know, forget all of that. Just go ahead and gentrify the whole town, sell the whole town out, and that'll be it. In 2018, I talked about that back then. I'm talking about that now in 2025. What I want to do is I want to preserve our community for the people who live here, for the people who have gone through all of those mayors that we saw and didn't get the results they were supposed to get. Those people deserve to have a good quality of life. Okay? And so I'm going to stop right there. I'm going further. But it is something that is extremely important to me. So as long as I have breath in my body, it is definitely going to be something that we pay attention to. I also, just before I go, I also believe that aging in place is most beneficial for those who are getting older. I don't necessarily, for those who have to live in, say, for instance, you know, multi-dwelling communities, that's okay. But if we can help someone to age in place, we want to do that. And with our land use plan, I believe that we can. So, our commercial and industrial areas framework, basically, as you can see, well, maybe you can, maybe you can't, depending on how good your eyesight is. But I'll read it to you. Western Avenue Employment Area, Dixie Square Mall, the North Side Commercial Corridors, our downtown area, Northeast Industrial Park, and the 159th Street Corridor, Commercial Corridor, and the Center Avenue Active Industrial Park. So all of those are the commercial areas that make the framework of what we have here in the city of Harvey. Historic preservation. Our municipal code, along with the Illinois Compiled Statutes, set up a standard of support to emphasize the importance of historic places and structures. So we do have things already in our code, and we also have the state law that gives us direction on what we're supposed to do with our historic buildings. Probably one of the most historic buildings that we have here in the city is where? Who's got the answer to that one? The most historic building that we have here in this city. Rick said.
Old City Hall.
Old City Hall. Does everyone know where the Old City Hall is located?
Yeah.
Okay.
154th.
154th Street, I forget what the exact address is, because the streets were different at that time. But if you go to 154th and Center, just west of 154th and Center, maybe half a block west of 154th and Center, between Center and Turlington on the south side, there is a building, an older building. I may show it to you guys and I can pull it up. On the south side of the street. It was built in 1897. And it is a building that we are hoping to, at some point in time, to restore and provide use for the community. There are historic dollars that are available, but we got to be able to access it. We have recently had some conversations with a professional. Repeat that. We've had conversations with a professional that actually specializes in not only renovating, but finding the money to renovate those types of buildings, okay? And I stress that because some people try to act as if they are professionals when they are not, okay? But we actually talk to the professionals that do this for a living so we can make sure we preserve our historic places and structures. Transportation and mobility. Says we are going to provide cohesive and efficient network of roads, trails, bikeways, sidewalks, transit service, rail corridors, and networks that supports business investment and enhances local and regional mobility. Cars are not the only way, okay? We can walk, we can bike, you know, there are many other ways for us to get to where we want to go in our community. But the first thing we have to do is create access to those types of transportation alternatives. And that's what we're going towards to do. I think we had a ward meeting, not this past Saturday, I think the Saturday before, for one of the wards, and I was showing them how on 155th Street, we're preparing to build, to redo the street, but also along, yeah, look, and she, you know what, she not only deserves a clap, she deserves to stand up and dance and everything like that as well. But to redo the street, but also to create bike trails along the street as well. On Roby, we're working on the engineering to create a path from 154 to 147. That path will connect in with a lot of other paths that already go through the region so that we can be a part of the overall network. So that's some of the things we're working on. Our recommendations: 1, improve key intersections to enhance traffic operations, pedestrian and bicycle safety. 2, work with PACE and Metro to provide improvement in transit service. Now, I don't know how many of you have heard me discuss this, but I have before, but we are getting closer and closer. We're about 60 to 70% design. You know that the 147th Street Sibley Metro Station has been completely redone. That's another project that had not been done for almost 40 years, okay? So that was done. And in, I believe, April or June, as long as all things being equal, somewhere in April or June of next year, we will be breaking ground on the 70 million brand new PACE and Metro unified transit station over here on 154th and 155th Street. So we'll have that, we'll be providing more information, and we'll be having a community solutions meeting on that as we get closer. But that's number 2. Incorporate a complete streets approach to transportation planning when updating roadways to prioritize accessibility and safety for all users, regardless of age, ability, or mode of transportation, regardless of age, ability, or mode of transportation. Age, ability, mode of transportation. That is important. Because when you see us doing the new sidewalks, when you see us doing the new streets, you see those things being installed, that's regardless of age, ability, or mode of transportation. Even on Dixie Highway, when they redid Dixie Highway and they started putting in more sidewalks as well. If you go to 154th and Dixie Highway, you see exactly what they did as far as age, ability, and mode of transportation. So that's important. Encourage walking in the community by enhancing street lighting to improve safety, especially in high pedestrian traffic areas. Walking is always good for everyone. Believe me, I'm a living witness, so I can tell you, the more you can walk, if you can, do it. And then invest in bike lanes and pedestrian-friendly infrastructure to encourage non-motorized community. And the good thing about it is, for all of these things, there are dollars available. There are dollars available. And when you can go, you can start to apply for these things. And you can tell them, we have it in our comprehensive plan. Because we're going to go back. Part of the comprehensive plan is to help us with when we're applying for financing. Remember?
Yeah.
We can say this is in our comprehensive plan. It gives us a leg up. So these are some of the things that our recommendations. Of course, transportation, public outreach process identified traffic flow, congestion, and truck traffic on city streets as key issues. And so we're going to continue to try to focus on that. Where's he at? Over here, this is this gentleman right here, for those of you who do not know him. This is Cameron Bennett. This is our chief of police. And he has, during this administration, started something that I think every last one of you want or want to have. Now let's see if he knows what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about? Nope. What is it?
Truck enforcement.
And tell them about the truck enforcement.
So we currently have a truck enforcement program and a division that we recently started where this division only deals with truck enforcement. We know that affects a lot of our roadways, the overweight trucks that come through the town. So now we have a specific division that specializes in just citing those different trucks to get them in compliance so they'll no longer tear up our roadways.
How many do we have?
Right now we have 6 dedicated just to truck enforcement.
How many scales you got?
Say what?
How many scales you have?
1.
That's what you need to get, more scales.
You know what? And you are so right. Even though, look here, break the rules. Now y'all know the rules up in these minutes, right? But we're gonna roll with that. Because yes, how many scales do you have? We only have 1 at this particular point in time because scales cost what? Money. We didn't have one when I actually got in office. East Hazelcrest had our scales. Go figure. But nevertheless, yes, we do need to get more of them, and we are working to do just that. But you have to start off where you can start off. And the fact that we have 6 officers now that are specifically tasked with doing truck enforcement. So, and look, that's a good reason. Because those trucks have definitely tore up every single one of our streets. Every single, 1% of our streets that we have in the city of Harvey is of any usable value. We did an assessment of all the streets in the city, and of that, 1% is of any usable value. The other 99% need major overhaul. Every last one of them. So, but once again, I get money for that, so I want y'all to clap up that money too. What did Peter Pan say? Clap louder, we go, yeah, we didn't do that. Transportation recommendations to adopt an official complete streets policy, which will require the Public Works Department to review the feasibility of incorporating increased pedestrian and bicycle accommodations anytime the street of Harvey is planned to be resurfaced or reconstructed. We've already done that. We did that back in 2021, okay? Coordinate with CMAP and IDOT to analyze the feasibility of grade separating for Canadian Pacific, Kansas City, Line Railroad where it intersects with 147. Y'all got that? Basically, what they're saying is we need to start having discussions, and we are having discussions on how to create either an overpass or an underpass at 147th Street where the railroad crosses over. Okay? Now that's one heck of a lift now. Okay, just so you know, that is one heck of a lift. So it's not just as simple as, you know, me calling the federal government saying, hey, y'all need to come out here and do this. It takes work, it takes time. But we are on it already. Apply for grant funding to improve at-grade crossing warning devices at crossing locations on streets that are under local jurisdiction through crossing safety improvement programs administered by the Illinois Commerce Commission. Now, we're in March. So that was February, early February. I had a conversation with the government affairs liaison for CSX Railroad. and we discussed just that. We've had a few issues where people have tried to cross the railroad tracks and they've ended in fatalities. Okay, we don't want that. We don't want that. Now, we would hope that nothing could be as important, or no one would think that they can move fast enough to get past the train. But sometimes, you know, it happens, we do, and sometimes we misjudge. And when that happens, we have those fatalities. We want to try to do whatever it is we can to try to reduce them. Our chief of fire, our fire chief, has already come up with a suggestion, but I'm going to be working with that and also CSX to try to come up with something as well. Develop an EV readiness plan that establishes an infrastructure framework incorporating both public right-of-ways and private property. Transportation recommendations continue with pace, of course, to understand the process, bringing the down-ride service back to Harvey. We had it at one time, but there was not enough participation. So as we begin to build up, increase and improve our residential count, we can bring back that program. Prioritize replacing deteriorated sidewalks and stripping crosswalks between key destinations. We're already working on that, and actually, if I am correct, am I correct, Rick? That we're going to start using those MFT funds to repair some of those sidewalks? Okay. Say that loud for people with Jeeps.
In the works to make sure all our major crossways are marked and signs are posted.
And trying to fix the sidewalks, right?
Of course.
Okay. Now we can't do it all at once, everybody, so please. As money comes in, we use the money for where it's supposed to go. Explore partnership with University of Chicago Medicine, we already have that, but explore it to subsidize transportation for careless, individuals with low incomes, seniors, those with disabilities, essential workers, to help to increase access to medical care for those who may need it, most of the city within Harvey. You know, a lot of times what happens is they go after the low-hanging fruit. The low-hanging fruit, of course, being the University of Chicago and Ingalls. But there's also Family Christian Health Center. And Family Christian Health Center does great work in our community, okay? And Family Christian Health Center is extremely invested in our community. So not just University of Chicago, but also Family Christian Health Center as well needs to be included in that. So of course, we have the Pace Transportation Center, which we're talking about, the Hoskin Bus Corridor. Can anybody pronounce that for me? The corridor, the enhancement project, and the Pace Post Route. You know what? I love it because one thing for sure, I ain't perfect. Never said I was. But I get a kick out of stuff like that. And it just, it makes me laugh. So, you say what? Even when you do it, don't always get it right. It don't always get it right, but corridor.
It's the French.
French. It's the French spelling, and that's what it is. Corridor. So, bike and pedestrian facilities, we kind of talked about that a little bit, but we want to start encouraging that more as well. We want more movement. You know, community facilities, parks, and key recommendations: update and maintain existing parks to improve safety and recreational opportunity. Now, this is not necessarily for everybody in the room, but especially for those who may end up watching this, because sometimes people don't know how their government works, and they think that the City Hall is responsible for the parks. City Hall is not responsible for the parks. We are willing to work with the Park District in whatever way we possibly can, but we are not responsible for the parks. The Park District and those officials whom the city elected are responsible for the parks. But as far as the plan is concerned, this is what we want to do. Invest in the creation of green spaces and pocket parks, particularly in neighborhoods with lower levels of park access. Introduce public art installations, that would be absolutely wonderful. Collaborate with local schools and community organizations, develop a comprehensive trail network, implement a maintenance plan for community facilities to ensure consistent upkeep and safety, maintain and strengthen relationships with community service providers, public library, University of Chicago, the Park District, and others by supporting their operations and partnering to provide services to acquire resources. Now, this is important because the community came up with this. This is not something that this administration came up with. This is not something that House of Levine came up with. This is not something that RTA came up with. This is what the community said that they wanted to see. And what you do now is, because you say you want to see these things, it's now the instruction for the elected officials, whomever they are, to get on board and get busy. Infrastructure, capitalize on federal funding opportunities to make critical repairs to the city's stormwater sewer system. That has already happened on 154th Street. It will be happening whenever MWRD starts the construction on the water basin. Build a broadband strategic plan to ensure the city and permanent partners increase access to high-speed broadband, and conduct a water rate study, which actually a water rate study was done in 2023 by who?
Robinson?
Nope. See, I get senior moments too, y'all. Yeah. But a water rate study was already done, and I can tell you this much. It basically said what we all do. Water's too high. But we are working, and we're still, working, let's go back. One of those things we're still working with is our relationship with the city of Chicago. Okay. We are probably this close to a plan to getting an agreement for the payment of the delinquent water bills. One of the issues that we have is Chicago can't make up its mind. Here at Chicago, they can't make up their mind. Because first day I got elected, Lori Lightfoot got elected. We started talking to the Lori Lightfoot administration, was trying to work out something new at that time. And then what happened? Lori Lightfoot was out, Brandon Johnson was in, now we gotta talk to that administration. And mind you, they don't pick up where the last one left off. It starts all over again. So, we're gonna hope and pray as far as what they're doing now. Because we need to have the ability to be able to enter into a solid agreement with the city of Chicago. Streets, same thing. Our allocated budget for pavement is $1 million, and this is funding that is anticipated to continue through 2031. But our pavement study, okay, because these things are being done, highlighted that these projects that actually 1.8 million would be required to maintain the current state of repair of the city's pavement. So the recommendations are to consider increasing the annual budget allocated to maintenance and rehabilitation of pavement, and create a 5-year capital improvement plan, which is actually something that we're working on now with our engineers, for future street improvement, infrastructure investments as well. And we also are looking for additional funding from outside. Implementation will require the cooperation of a diverse race of organizations, stakeholders, including staff, elected appointed officials, public agencies, the local business community, property owners, developers, and residents. And plan should serve as the primary reference in guiding our policy formation. We've already gone over that part, and we're going to continue to use this as our guide. Moving forward, we need to develop and maintain partnerships, which we will continue to do. I talk about the importance of relationships. Relationships are extremely important. I try to maintain relationships with all of our local partners, from the county, state, to the federal government. I try to maintain those relationships so they can give us some of the knowledge and expertise that they have, so we can do some of the things that we need to do. So finally, once again, the entire 2024 comprehensive plan can be found on the city website at www.cityofharvey.il.gov. So, all right, we are almost there. So that ends that. And so I don't know if there were any questions or not. If anybody wrote anything down. No.
I could collect them, so we could just.
Please.
Pass them down to this side. So you can pass your index cards down, I'll collect them.
While we are waiting to get some questions too, we also have another all-person here, Alderwoman Talena Smith. She decided to sit in the audience, so she's here as well. Tell you what, we are ending the age. We are going to take questions on the comprehensive plan because that's why we're here. But if we get through those questions soon enough, then of course, for those who know me, of course, I'll take questions on anything because I love talking to people. And I'd like to hear what your thoughts are. Are park district officials aware of the comprehensive plan? Now, what I can say to that is, I don't know. But your park district officials should be residents of the city of Harvey. And because they should be residents of the city of Harvey, part of being an elected official is to know what's going on in the city. So we had, as you see, we had the meetings, we had the different vision boards, we had all of that stuff. We put it online, we did all of that. So I'm hoping, but I don't know, that the park district officials, if they're aware of the comprehensive plan or not. Should they be? I would hope so. But I say what we'll do. We'll make sure that they know. Whomever wrote the question, we'll make sure that they know. Because we'll make sure that we get a comprehensive plan over there to the park district. Kind of like just in case, on the FYI. Yeah, we'll do that. This is cool. The question is, what is the plan to bring businesses to the area, i.e. grocery store, etc.? So, we always have businesses in the city of Harvey. Our biggest problem, in my opinion, are the types of businesses that we have in the city of Harvey. Okay? And when I first got in, we had a lot of gentlemen's clubs in the city of Harvey. That's what we had. Gentlemen's clubs, nightclubs. We were the club capital of the Southland. Okay, we sold liquor till 5 o'clock in the morning, and it was party time for everybody. Well, first of all, in that type of environment, it's difficult to bring additional businesses. because I have yet. Okay, anybody, you know, yeah, when I look at this crowd, it's so wonderful. There was this movie called Porky's. Okay, way back in the day. And it was considered risque at that particular point in time when it came out. It's not risque now. But Porky's was located way back in the back somewhere where nobody else knew it was there. Okay? Or if we don't just talk about Porky's, let's talk about Hawks. Because I know some of y'all know about Hawks. Okay? Hawks was, yeah, some of them know about Hawks. You see how they put on little prudish faces? Like, Hawks, I don't care what they are. Eagles, crows, owls, what are you talking about? Hawks. Okay? But it was also way off in the back. Family-oriented businesses don't want to move to a community that's full of gentlemen's entertainment and nightclubs. They just don't want it. You know, you can't put your wholesome Dave and Buster's, you know what I'm saying, right next to Club O. It doesn't work. Okay? Because when little kids coming in and they thought, Mommy, what's a Club O? What does that do? You know. So at the end of the day, we have to change our perception in the business community. And I'm not talking about the businesses that don't pay their proper taxes to the city. Because I already put out a list of businesses once before, but I'm going to say it again. 465 commercial properties in 2021 did not pay their property taxes to the tune of $12,517,217. Okay? $12,517,217. Now of that $12,517,217, the city of Harvey stood to get $4 million. Count it with me. Now, that was for the year of 2021, but the vast majority of those businesses had not paid their property taxes for 20 years. 20 years. So do the math. 20 times 4 million. We could be locked into that money. The stuff we're talking about here, we could have done. So I'm not talking about those businesses. Okay? And then those businesses have the nerve, after we try to get them to pay their taxes, to sue the city of Harvey for trying to get them to pay their taxes. So those are not the businesses that I'm talking about. But as far as grocery stores are concerned, there's several things that we have to do, and we have to do it as a community. First, we see here, median income is $32,572. We have to work to try to improve jobs in our community so we can move that number up. Because when consumer businesses look to figure out where they're going to locate, they look at your median income. Now, we're going, because this is so much fun. I love this. We're going to take that down for a second. But if you don't believe me, here we go. We're going to type in median income. Orland Park, Illinois. Wait, it's right there, Illinois. $47,476 is the median income in Orland Park. Now, let's go even more. There we go. See that right there? We don't look like that yet. So yes. So we gotta make some moves and do some things. And this is why it requires us to work together. Population, good size population, ain't it? Okay. Overall poverty rate is 6.55%, but they actually had a 22% 1 year increase. Okay. Ours is somewhere around 17. Ports Dick Durban, Tammy Duckworth is their percentage. The median household income is $98,979. Median property value, $349,400. Employee population, 28,092, median age 46.8. Those are important numbers because when businesses are looking, but we got our economic development director right back here, okay? I mean, am I right or am I right?
You're right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when they're going to look at, to decide the places where they're going to go, they look at those types of numbers. And there's so many business people and so many large businesses that when they first start looking, every year they do an assessment of where they're going to, say for instance, invest or try to locate. When they're on the map, that little region where Harvey is located comes up on their map. So we're on the radar, but then as they dig deeper and deeper and deeper, they start to find other things that don't help support their business. And so we're working, and part of this plan is to help us to be able to do just that. Since 2018, how many residents have left? We went from 25,000 in 2010 to 20,000 in 2020. So approximately, somewhere between 4,000 to 5,000 have left the city. And but the good news is that there are plenty of people who are ready to come back to the city of Harvey. And that's why we're creating and establishing ourselves, by having a good police force, having a good police chief, bringing the crime rate down. I'm pretty sure some of you have seen that, over time. Thank you. Having a public works team that gets out there, and I don't even know how they do half the things they do in the city as far as trying to keep the city clean. One of those things, of course, is having our spring and fall cleanups. And for those of you who are longtime residents, you remember when we used to have those. We have those now. We're trying to keep the city clean. It's just a great team that's working overall to try to do everything we possibly can together. All right, so the rest of these are not relevant to the comprehensive plan. So y'all already have some fun now? All right, so we got a little bit left, so I'll go on here and figure it out. I'm not quite sure what is the purpose of the community center. I think they're talking about the community hubs. Okay, let me give you a little story on that, if you don't mind. First of all, they were called community hubs. I wasn't really in favor of the name, but it is what it is. And then somebody turned around and yeah, somebody in this administration, just like we saw corridor, somebody in the administration went up and had signs printed up that had community center on it. And let me tell you how much of a nightmare that started for me. Because people was calling, how you gonna have a community center in a who you gonna put up in there? Y'all can't play no basketball. Of course we can play, we know that. Okay? It was just a situation where somebody went out and misprinted. It was supposed to be community hubs. The community hubs were initially designed, first of all, they're paid by, in part by NICOR, and in part by our state representative, Will Davis. So that money didn't come out of y'all pockets for those who want to make those allegations. The purpose of them were to try to create what I would call safe zones within our communities, okay? So that particular area, and we're still going to get there, would be manned by a police officer, okay? 24 hours a day. We have 24 hours a day manning in those buildings. And as we continue to grow, we'll be able to do just that. If a small group wanted to do something, like for instance, I encourage block clubs, but you know, most of the time, people aren't involved in block clubs because what? They don't want people in their house, in their homes. Okay? But you can have something where a small group of people, 5 to 10, can come together and talk about the issues in their communities and come up with solutions on how to resolve them. Our children, they need as much as they can possibly get. But one thing they need for sure is they need homework help. Okay? Because if you look at these numbers, you know, those numbers have been going backwards as far as the children being able to read. And so if someone wanted to offer homework help, they could do so at one of those community centers. So it has purpose, okay? We need more money to complete, but it has purpose. And then the outside areas are those things that we're talking about here, pocket parks, you know, little areas with nice seating, you know. So after you doing your walking like I told you that you should be doing, and then you got this little sweat going like I got going on my head, and you get to the pocket park, and you can sit down, and you be like, hey, Tyrone, how you doing, man? What's going on? I ain't seen you in a little while. And you can have that, and you can have that conversation while you checking your pulse and making sure your heart rate's staying up. What's being done to tear down abandoned buildings? We tear them down. If you ain't seen, then you gotta go see. Okay. Right, somebody just sent me, you know what? I'm a phone, man. Oh, hush. Yeah. All right. So these are some that we've gotten already. 15303 Broadway, 15305 Broadway, 198 West 154th Street, 15304 Loomis, 178 West 154th Place, 15742 Paulina Avenue, 14846 South Ashland Avenue, 15709 Emerald Avenue, 561 East 149th Street, 299 East 148th Place, 14513 Jefferson, 23 East 145th Street, 321 East 147th Street, 14334 Center, 16019 Lathrop, 14816 Lexington, 106 East 148th Street, 14633 Halsted, 19 West 143rd Street, 15943 Lathrop Avenue, 15637 Paulina, 299 East 149th Street, 14933 Vale. Well, see, you know, y'all forget, and I get it. Because, and this is on the real, who remembers Nate's on 159th and Park? On the 159th part, first 100 days this administration got in, that building down, gone. Okay? 157 Halsey. Big old building. 3 stories. Okay? Gone. I ain't playing with y'all no more. Y'all ain't right. Myrtle street lights, that's the Myrtle street lights be repaired and turned on. If this is in the 6th Ward by any chance, or if this is somewhere on 147th Street, basically, this season, this upcoming season, they should be on. The engineers has done the work. The Lions and Penner is doing their work. Those are being on. See, I used the term the last time I did a presentation, and I talked about foot and back. I have foot and there's foot and back. It's foot and back. It's foot and back. They will tell you, okay, we're not playing around here. We're moving at an accelerated pace. And so we do what we have to do in order to make sure we get the job done. But those lights should be done as well. But remember, when we got in, the city was 30% lit. The only way you could get around the city was to be a bat, because we had to use sonar in order to travel through the dark. So we have come a long way. You know, we've come so far by faith. You know, so y'all gotta start singing the church hymns or something like that. I don't know. Has a new property tax relief bill to assist Harvey homeowners been passed? It has not been passed. So, if you really want to do that, that's something that you need to talk to state reps, state senator about. But there is a bill that has been proposed, and it's really going to help us. That's the great part about it. The discussion has already been, it's a circuit breaker, okay? And the consideration is to bring a circuit breaker. Now, the reason why a circuit breaker is good for us is because of stuff like that, okay? And people like who live in Orland, they don't qualify for circuit breaker. So they are, of course, anti-circuit breaker, while we're in favor of it. But we are, also the code says right here, Cook County Social Chris KD announced the filing of a new bill in the Illinois legislation. It was advertised on the Lansing Journal, February 2025. Yes, that is happened, and we're waiting to see what happens in this next session to see if that can get through. I really hope that it does, but in the meantime, and in between time, this gentleman right here, this young lady right here, in June, we promised not to increase the taxes for 2025, property taxes. And in December of 2024, we kept that promise, and we did not increase those taxes, okay? So, now you'll still receive a tax bill with the city of Harvey's name on it, of course, but we did not increase it, okay? We tried to encourage other taxing bodies, because there's 15 taxing districts that tax us. We try to encourage them to do the same. I'm going to leave it at that. I'm not going to speak for them, but I can speak for us, because I understand exactly how that impacts everybody. What's going on with the Wood Street project? Well, they start working on it again. The Wood Street project should be started, I think, somewhere in either April or June. I have talked to the engineer. We are trying to make sure there's a few things that need to be tweaked so we can make sure that it is correct, but it should be happening sometime this year. But remember, that's another project. That project was started in 2009. Nothing happened from 2009 to 2019. In 2019, this administration went to IDOT to basically re-establish our relationship and see how we can go about getting that going again. So we're moving in that direction. And that's another one of those things that's happening as far as our state revenue is concerned. What about the issue of commercial trucks, such as tow trucks on residential streets? That gets on my nerves, y'all. So I'll be honest with you. I don't like no type of trucks on commercial streets, period. I don't want the box trucks on commercial streets. I don't want the tow trucks on commercial streets. And if you got a commercial vehicle, I think you need to be parking your vehicle where you work. That's just me. But we can always pass an ordinance on that. Okay? So I don't know who asked the question, but talk to your department person. Tell them, hey, I was at the meeting. I heard the mayor say we can pass along that. We pass along that, and we can start taking care of that too. Because I honestly don't, he'll tell you. Because I get on his nerves as well about that type of stuff. So, what's happening to the water pressure in Glenview Manor? What's happening to the water pressure in Glenview Manor?
No idea.
I don't either.
Where is that? Where is that?
Behind the McDonald's on 147th. So, what's going on with the fire hydrants in Glenview Manor? When potholes gonna be fixed and streets paved because of all the traffic coming out of the car wash on 148. Okay. So, first of all, if you live in Glenview Manor, whether you're here in the building or you end up watching this, please come see me first of all on Meet the Mayor so we can have a more in-depth discussion. Glenview Manor was established, and Glenview Manor was supposed to, at the point in which it was established, was supposed to have an HOA. And the HOA was supposed to take care of all of that stuff. Homeowners Association. Now, I don't know what they did or what they didn't do. So, whoever wrote the question, don't take it as an attack from me, because I don't know. Okay? All I know is what it was supposed to be when it was established. And so, and those HOA dollars were supposed to take care of those things over there. The traffic coming from the car wash, traffic comes from several ways. It comes from either north on 147th Street, it comes from the east, right off of Dixie Highway, or they can come into the frontage road and go into the car wash. But that doesn't impact all of the roads that's inside of Glenview Manor. So that requires a deeper conversation. And Glenview Manor, you can look it up. It does have a HOA established with the Illinois Secretary of State. So, first of all, I'm more than willing to help in any way I possibly can, because we in the problem solving solution giving customer service business. That's what we do. So we'll definitely try to help, but that might be a lift. It might be a little bit more than we're able to do right away, but we will do everything we possibly can. But the first thing that happens is we have to have a conversation. This is not, y'all got issues over there. We can't resolve all of that in here, so, but let's have that conversation. 147th Street, Metro parking lot, will the city operate again? Absolutely not. Will the city of Harvey Police Department still build block clubs? If you're interested in block club, of course. Training enforcement and truck enforcement, we talked about that. What are we doing for our youths? I don't know, what are we doing? I'd like to know that. What are we doing for our youth? Because if you're saying that I'm the one responsible for y'all children, you got enough income. What are we doing for our youth? Now, I talked about it earlier. I'd love to give them more educational programs, help them learn to, those who are a little bit older, take on trades. We are talking to different organizations that would like to do those types of things. But once again, You have a whole park district. You have a whole park district. Okay? And you pay taxes to that whole park district. So you need to go to that whole park district and ask that whole park district what they're doing for our kids. And I'm just gonna put it straight out there. And if they're not doing enough for our kids, then I'm gonna be the first to say it. Because they've been wanting to hear me say it for a long time anyway. Then we need to get rid of the park district. Okay? Because the bottom line is it don't make sense to pay taxes for things that you ain't receiving. And you know what? Oh Lord, y'all got me on the doggone. So, look, now somebody said, somebody gonna say that I said it. Somebody said it's not a park district, it's people running the park district. Well, then y'all need to vote differently. Now, here's the thing. While we talking, let me get y'all to make sense of this one. School District 147. This is the next one. We might as well start it right now because it's about to happen. Actually, what's this? The 31st? Oh, it's starting in the next couple of days. Thursday. School District 147 has a $30 million budget. You can write it down. I think it's $30.4 million to be exact, but don't quote me on that. Somewhere in vicinity. How many schools operate out of School District 147? I'll wait.
Three. Lincoln, Rose Park, and King.
Schools, right here. Lincoln Early Learning Center. Martin Luther King Elementary and Rosa Parks Middle School. 3. A kindergarten and a preschool. A first through, I think it's 4th. And a 5th through 8th. Not even a whole school. Now, do any of y'all remember them days when we went to school and it was like a whole school in school? You could go to school and you started kindergarten and you graduated in 8th grade and you've been in the same building and it only took one building. It takes 3 buildings. 3 buildings. It's only 756 in total. I think it's 756 students in total. Okay? Yeah, but here's the thing. $30 million. We pay in taxes, and of the $30 million, 95% of that $30 million comes from property taxes. Okay? Washington closed, and because they still got it as a capital asset.
And 2 superintendents.
That's right, 2 superintendents, capital assets. Okay, don't come up in here talking no yah to me, because I'm telling you, this stuff is going on, and while this is going on, we don't hear nobody saying nothing about it, and it's going on right under your nose. 30 million. Then when your taxes go up, we got somebody in here, I know who it is, and she knows who she is too. Always want to ask me, what's happening with the money? Go ask them. What's happening with the money? Now, we're taking written questions, so if you have a written question, we can go ahead and take it now. Same thing with School District 152. Because School District 152 went down from 8 elementaries and 1 junior high to to 4 elementaries and a middle school. But the budgets didn't go down. Maybe that makes sense to me now.
It don't make no sense.
Well, I'm sitting up here trying to figure out how we're going to get around $164 million worth of debt. We need to go up on taxes, and we don't go up on taxes. They go up on taxes. God bless them. But they go up on taxes, and you have to pay for it. And then they give you the bamboozle and tell you, go see the city. Find out where your taxes is going up. 60% of your tax bill comes from the schools. 60%. And this is what you're getting or not getting. Okay? Because while you're sitting, while some folks want to sit up here and they just want to make up stuff, this stuff is real things that's going on in our community. Those two districts need to be consolidated into one district with one budget. That's not $30 million.
Well, how can you do that? Get a referendum?
So, don't answer questions when they come from the audience, but you can go ahead and give up. But I heard you though. I heard you.
Yeah, we need a referendum.
But those things need to happen. But the first thing you gotta do is, besides the referendum, you gotta get incensed about it. You gotta act like you give a damn. That's what you gotta do. We gotta stop looking at all this hokey-pokey nonsense that we look at in government. Okay? And we gotta start looking at serious things and serious issues. Because those are the serious issues that make us spend more money. And when we go back to, right here, right here, that thing works. Oh, it's actually working. When we go back and we look at this, y'all see, ain't nobody got a lot of money to be spending. So you need to be fighting for every single dime that you have. So let it be said that it came from my mouth. 152 and 147 needs to be consolidated. That makes absolutely no sense. There is not a single school from West Harvey Decimal School District 147 that's in Harvey. Rosa Parks is in Dixmoor, King is in Dixmoor, Lincoln is in Dixmoor. Okay? Once again, y'all need to be incensed about this now. I'm dropping the gems on you. I'm spitting bars. Okay? So those two districts need to be consolidated. And if you cannot get what you're supposed to get, they need to be consolidated regardless of leadership. And if you can't get what you're supposed to get out of the park district, then you need to get rid of that too. Because we pay too much in taxes. The taxes is too damn high. Now, I'll take an amen on that. Can I get an amen? Amen. So at the end of the day, those are the things that need to be done. And those are the things that we need to focus on. Okay? Those are the real things. Some of the people who sit on this council don't pay taxes because they don't own no house. But then they're going to sit up here and talk about how your taxes are supposed to be. And vote against holding the tax. Well, I'm going to stop right there. But I'm going to tell you right now, if I was to get up and tell y'all some of the stuff on the donor zones, okay. So, who controls the schools? Well, now you know. I don't control the schools. Whoever asked that question. I don't control the schools. The school district is its own governing body. We have several districts. We have School District 147, 152. We also have 151. Anybody know 151? Yeah. That's Taft. Taft is in South Holland School District 151. 205. Okay. We have 205. And we have 510. 510 is Sauceburg. Now, in another little story. Y'all got a little time? Yeah. All right. Y'all all right? All right. 2008. a lady by the name of Kamala Buckner was the superintendent for School District 205. We had 3 schools: Thorn Ridge, which I graduated from, go Falcons, Thornton, and the other school, Thornwood. Okay. So, oh yeah, I got it. So, in 2008, Kelly Buckner comes and she says to the school district, she says to the parents, she says to the board, we do, based on our trajectory, based on how much we're losing population in our taxing districts, we will not have enough money to sustain 3 schools. That's what she said. Okay, sustain 3 schools. We will have enough tax dollars, and we are losing enrollment at such a rate that we will not be able to to have 3 schools. Now this is what she said in 2008. 17 years later, y'all. Now it's so funny. Like I said, this stuff just amazes me. So I'm at the meetings and I'm hearing people talk. And so her suggestion was, what we should do is the vast majority of our youths, the vast majority of them come out of 8th grade and go into their freshman year with a 4th grade reading level. So she had an idea. She said, why don't we take Thorn Ridge and turn it into a freshman academy? All of our feeder schools will feed into Thorn Ridge and will be a freshman academy. I can get, I think it was $18 million to turn that school into a freshman academy, so that we can work with those children who have a 4th grade reading level to try to bring them up before we move them into their sophomore, junior, and senior year. And this is somebody trying to talk sense to us. Talking about what we do for you. We was trying to teach them how to read. So as I'm there, a few people from Thorn Ridge, now mind you, I'm gonna say it right now, I went to Thorn Ridge, but I cannot say I necessarily got the most stellar education in. And I'm not gonna say I had the smartest people that was in my classes with me. But some of those people asked the question because they were now adults. And they asked the question, well, what are we gonna do with the trophies? That was their biggest concern. What to do with the trophies? Not that the kids couldn't read. So what happens is, and now I'm about to make some people mad. Darren Robinson ran for school board. Kenny Williams ran for school board. They got on with a few other people. They turned around and the first thing they did, they fired Kamala Buckner. Fired her. Am I right, Jim? They fired her. You talk about closing down our school, even though she had the numbers that show that we could not afford it because we didn't have the tax dollars and we didn't have the enrollment. They got rid of her right away. And they went through a period of in and out superintendents. Okay? But since that time, it's only gotten worse. We still can't afford to keep 3 schools, we still can't afford to do it. Not only can we not afford to do it, what they have done, in essence, is they have consolidated the schools. So they've consolidated the football teams, the basketball teams, the bands, and all the rest of it. They consolidated them into one group because we don't have enough money to do it. But as long as they can keep taxing you, you keep allowing it, they're going to keep doing it. They're going to keep doing it. So that's who controls the schools. Will the city? Will the city make public all invoices and receipts showing how tax money is spent? So first of all, we already do that. And you can go and you can here's the chairman of the finance committee. we have done and we have caught up, but we haven't caught up on all of them. And that is done as true on all of our audits. Okay? But we have worked to catch up. We were 5 years behind when I came in here. Okay? So we have worked to catch up on the audits. We have done some of the audits. But we have a budget meeting. We have a finance meeting. Okay? And we have, and when the audits are done, we'll have our audit meeting. And if you go to the state comptroller's website, you can look on the state comptroller's website and find the past audits that we have done. That's where you get your receipt. But you never ever get to receive all of the invoices and all of the receipts. You ain't calling up Trump, you wasn't calling up Biden, you didn't call up Barack, and you didn't call up nobody else and say, can you show me how much you paid for that hammer? No, you didn't. So stop the foolishness. Stop it. Okay? Bottom line is, oh, and by the way, and the treasurer still ain't made a report in 5 years. Okay? You're elected official. Still ain't made a report in 5 years. So, so, but as far as how your taxes are being used, and here's the other thing. Let me go back. I want to come closer, so I'll make sure we can see each other. We ain't got no money. But people in cheap seat. We ain't got no money. Y'all think I'm playing. Okay? When I tell you that we took $164 million worth of debt, that's real. We ain't got no money. That's where this goes. When we get a grant to fix something, that's where we get the money from. We fix it. $19 million to fix that metro station. It got fixed. $70 million to fix the pay station and the metro station. That's going to be fixed. $4.8 million to fix the 154th Street. And I think it was $200,000 to do what you're doing now with the rain gardens. Yeah, what are you talking about? You can see where your money's going. You got 15 new police officers that were installed 2 weeks ago. How many more fire people did we get? 5? 5 more. That's where your money going. Think about it. Pay attention. Open up your eyes. If you look, the vast majority of the communities around here were not driving Durangos, and they weren't driving Chargers for their police vehicles. Till we got it. Then we got it. And then everybody else want to know, how y'all get them Chargers? How y'all get those Durangos? They was driving the Impalas, the Crown Vics, and the Explorers. Okay? So at the end of the day, that's where the money's going. You can see where the money's going. I just read you a whole list of properties that were torn down. And tell me, brother. And on top of that, I'm giving my own $25,000 out of my own pocket to help to tear a house down. But you want to know where receipts are? I'll show you exactly where they are. Right here. Okay? That's where the receipts are. You don't have to ask where the receipts are. You can see them if you're opening up your eyes, if you want to see it. If you don't want to see it, don't even like do for you. And I ain't mad at you for asking the question. because you got every right to. But at the same time, go look. All those lights that came on Halsted, who lived over in the first floor? All those lights on Halsted, they didn't come out of the clear blue sky. I know we get to the 6th ward. But we got some over there on Halsted too. Heading north. We just got 147 we got to take care of. So you follow what I'm saying? So we're not hiding anything. And if there's something specific that you'd like to see, you can come see me on Fridays between noon and 3. And we can talk about it. It's called Meet the Mayor. It's a thing that I've been espousing for quite some time to try to get people to come and meet their mayor. Because I want to get to know you and I want you to get to know me. Okay? But once again, this is another one of those things. Ain't no other mayor out there having Meet the Mayor. You're expecting something from me that you get much more of that you don't get from nobody else. And then you don't show up. And then you have the nerve to complain. Get the molasses out your behind and come on and meet the mayor. And if you can't meet the mayor, I say it over and over again, if you ain't got time, because you got other things to do, that's actually why you hired me. You hired me because you got other things to do. But if you don't have time to meet the mayor from 12 to 3, come to that office and make an appointment. Do I? Where's so? Hey, there you go. There's Kristen. There's Mona. Mona's my executive assistant. Do I take appointments? I take appointments. Y'all see how long that is sitting here and talk to y'all? Give me another hour and see how long I go. I love talking to people. And I love what I do. I love this. There's no better thing than this. So, yeah, and I get a little passionate and stuff like that, but, I have. Ooh, this is good. Whoever you are, stick around. I have 3 letters, I think is what it is, of interest. Trying to buy a vacant lot next to my property. How can I buy it? Or what is the process? Please. And you know, and let me tell you also, you know, let's go back to Barney. You see how far that word goes? Please. I can give a good goddamn if you come to me, talking to me, any way you want to talk to me, say anything you want to say to me, any way you think you can say it. I'm Melanie's son. I wasn't raised to take that kind of talk. And you should mean it. But if you can say things like please and thank you, it gets you a long way. Remember I was talking about how the seniors taught me and told me that I was supposed to be? It wasn't to take that kind of talk. Please. They want no please. So what I want you to do, whenever you are, first of all, I want you to get the lot. I hope the city owns it. If you don't know if the city owns it, you can go on the city website at cityofharvey.gov. You can type in city-owned properties. And you know what? Let's do it right now. So we can show you that it can be done. Hold on. That's city website, y'all see it? Mm-hmm. All right. Let's go to properties. Let's see.
Put T in asterisk.
Well, that ain't right.
Put a T in asterisk.
Where is it? No. Here we go. Yeah, that's it. All right. So y'all see that done? Y'all see that works, right? Okay. Now, if you're using Windows Explorer, I would suggest maybe you should change to Chrome, but because Chrome works better. But here we go, properties for redevelopment. So everything that's in this little red blues. Now, reds are judicial deed eligible, and it's 500 pins. And the city owns are in blue, 430 pins. Look at here. So you can go down to the city-owned property list, and there's a list here. Let's do it together. I love this. And you can see the PIN number, the address of the property. Because see, somebody else was saying we don't make this stuff available to folks. You know, because they just ain't nothing else to do with their time. And you can even click on where the link is, and it will show you where the property is located. So let's grab a link here. That's where the property is located. Here is the property. Okay? Okay, that's what that property is. So we got 430 properties for rehab, construction, or side yards. So whoever it was that asked that question, first of all, that's another way of trying to find as far as ownership and if the city actually owns it or not. But two is, we would love to talk to you. Because if there's somebody that wants to buy a property and it's city owned, we want to sell it. Ain't that right, Chief?
You bet we do, yeah.
So there we go. So that actually covered all the questions, family.
I'm sorry, I know I can't ask you, but I need to get back to that, what you just did. What was that page?
Okay. No, that's fine. Because we done with these. See, once we're done with these, now we can raise hands.
5 to 7.
City,
I'm on the city page. Where do I go from there?
You got to go on a laptop. The mobile version, they haven't set up for the mobile version yet.
No. So what's the next one?
Laptop or desktop.
All right.
Okay. And then, so you know, that's once again.
Yeah, that's got the information. After the meeting.
Okay.
So once when you do that, then here is the step-by-steps. Step 1, a letter of interest. There we go. So step 1 is a letter of interest. Step 2, depending on what you're doing, proof of concept and funding. And it takes you through the steps. Several stages, blah, 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 to get you all the way through where you need to go. Okay? So, but your first step would be, of course, to submit this LOI. Now, if you say you've already done that, once again, then we need to talk some more, and we need to find out how we can assist you. So, it's time to say goodbye for now. We'll have our second time around. But before I go, there's something I'd like to say. Okay? We started, and we're going to end in prayer. So if you'll be so kind as to bow your heads, Heavenly Father God, we just come to you expressing our thanks and our love, oh God. Thanking you so much for this meeting. Thank you for the people who attended. Thank you for the well-received dialogue, the wonderful questions, and the people who are interested in moving our city forward. Oh Lord, we have to always continue to bless you for your grace, your mercy, and your favor, because you are loving and giving and sharing God. And we know without you that none of these things are possible. We ask, oh Lord, that you would continue to bless us as we leave this building, and as we continue on whatever way that we go, that we may have traveling grace, and we may eventually make it to our homes safely. Thanking you again, loving you, oh God, glorifying you, praising you, and magnifying you, because you deserve all of it. This we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Put your hands together for the mayor.
If I would have spoken out, he would have thrown me out. Yeah, we don't really get it. We don't really get an option here.